My name is Liz Kolar. I'm the co-founder of Surgent CPA Review.
I'm Jessica Sandu. I'm a CPA exam candidate using Surgent CPA review software.
Now, I know you probably heard that the exam is changing, and that change goes into effect in April of 2017. We wanted to talk to you today, give you some insight as to how the exam is changing, and to talk to you about the fact that if you can take the exam before it changes, you really should try and take it.
Absolutely.
So the exam, the AICPA decided they wanted to change the format and the content of the CPA exam because they felt like there was a disconnect between what a newly licensed CPA was being asked to do on the job versus what the exam was testing. Now, I took the exam more than 3 decades ago, and it's scary. And even then, it was a lot of memorization. And today, you guys have a lot of material you have to memorize, and it's almost, you memorize the content, you regurgitate, you give it back. The AICPA wants really to focus on higher order skills, taking the information and applying it to situations that would relate to what you see in the real business world. Mm-hmm. So that's been the driving force behind the changes. And what we're seeing is, kind of a little bit of panic in the marketplace because they've told us that the exam is going to get longer and it's going to get harder and it's going to get more expensive. So people want to take the exam before it changes. Mm-hmm. So Jess, what part would you say is changing the most?
Definitely VEC. Yeah. Structurally, it is completely changing because we never had simulations on VEC and now they're finally introducing them.
So right now the VEC section of the exam is 85% multiple choice and 15% written communications. In 2017, the VEC exam is going to be 50% multiple choice, 35% sims. And in that area, 35%, they're going to be 4 or 5 task-based sims. We've never had that on VEC. Mm-hmm. And they're also going to retain the 3 written communications worth 15%. So candidates are a little bit panicked by this introduction of sims on VEC. What's the concern?
I think mostly the unknown. We've never had simulations on this section. We don't know exactly what they're going to be testing, and not to mention the fact that there's going to be these 2 brand new types of simulations. So you have your enhanced task-based simulation and your document review simulation. And I know that from what I understand, the enhanced task-based simulation can be actually testing any part of the CPA exam that you've already taken or may have not taken.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to know. They're introducing this, what we call enhanced task-based sim. It's a much longer sim. Typically, the sims of today take about 12 minutes to solve. They're telling us the enhanced task-based sim could take 30, 40 minutes to solve. Mm-hmm. I'm a professor by trade, and so I use this example because a lot of you are students or have been students. Remember intermediate accounting, you'd have exercises and then homework problems. Remember how long those homework problems were? That's what we envision the enhanced task-based sims are going to look like. And 30, 40 minutes, they can ask a lot of information, and they plan on integrating content from the other sections. So you can't now just go into BEC and only know BEC. They may test topics from financial accounting, they may test topics from auditing, and so you have to be a well-rounded candidate to be able to succeed on those enhanced test-based sims.
Absolutely.
And it's unknown. We haven't gotten any samples yet, so a lot of candidates are very concerned about the introduction of that particular sim. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the document review sim? You've seen that already. That's been asked on the exam since July of 2016.
I did see it with audit, and I will say it's not necessarily super difficult, but it's definitely testing your analytical skills, and it's definitely a lot longer than the regular simulations that you're used to. I know it took me 15 to 20 minutes to do, which again is why it's so important to make sure that you save enough time and only spend maybe a minute and a half on each multiple choice question so you have enough time for your sims.
Yeah. So we do have document review sims and enhanced task-based sims in our software, mm-hmm. because we really think it's important that candidates practice these before they go into the real exam. Now, one of the things that we really want to talk to you about and how the exam is changing and why it's important that you take the exam now is that they're introducing a whole new format. The current CPA exam format is 3 multiple choice testlets and 1 testlet containing, if it's FAR, Reg, and Audit, 6 or 7 sims. And as I said, BEC doesn't have any sims right now. In 2017, the multiple choice are only going to be in the first 2 testlets, and then you're going to have 3 additional testlets containing 2 to 3 task-based sims in each of the 3. So we talk about being able to review all the sims right now in the 4th testlet. In the current format, you can look at all the sims, you can triage them, put the one you like the most at the top of the list and get that done. But in 2017, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to get your 3rd testlet will contain 2 sims. Those are the only 2 sims you can see. You have to finish those, submit the testlet, move on. And I don't know. I think this is the biggest concern that I have for candidates.
Oh, absolutely, because one of my biggest strategies when taking the exam was being able to see all of the simulations and being able to rank everything. And now I'm a little bit concerned about pushing one of my exams to the new exam format, because I'm not going to be able to use this strategy anymore, and I'm not going to know.
Yeah, I think that's a major change. And if I were in your shoes, I'd want to take the exam now if I can before it changes. So we've talked about VEC changing the most. And so if you're watching this video and you can actually take the test right now, I think you really should consider doing it before the exam changes in April. How much time should a candidate spend studying roughly, do you think? How many hours a week?
Honestly, it really depends. I know at least with the Surgent software, because it has that initial assessment in the beginning, I'm able to really figure out what my weaknesses are and kind of go from there. And it's really nice because it tells you how many hours a day you really need to study, depending on when your test date is. So I know for me, I at least still try to study for a little bit every single day. I know it's tough with work, but maybe 20 hours on average a week is probably a good mark to hit.
And since our average candidate is studying about 95 hours and able to pass a part, you could study and 20 hours a week and be ready to take the test in 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely. And sometimes you don't even need that 95 hours. Sometimes, depending on how prepared you are, you could go in after 70 hours. It really just depends on the person.
Right. And if you've already taken a part and maybe didn't pass, you already have a foundation, and what Surgent will do is we'll figure out what you know, and more importantly, we'll find out what you don't know, and that's really what you need to focus on. So you don't need to rehash all your studies. You may be studying for 40 hours because you have a really strong foundation. So if you're in the position where you need a couple of parts, you still have plenty of time to take them. We recommend going for VEC. The other part, it would be Reg, right?
Definitely.
Now, Reg is in 2017 going to have an extra hour. It's going to have 8 or 9 sims, so it is changing quite a bit. We're also seeing them pull back on some of the business law content, so that opens up the opportunity for them to ask more questions on the tax side. And so that's one of the reasons we're recommending that you go for Reg.
Definitely.
You have plenty enough time to get 2 parts done if you're studying 4 or 5 weeks for each part. I even think it's possible that they get a 3rd part in.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm trying. I have 3 tests scheduled before the exam changes, so I mean, if you can do it, by all means.
It's well worth it. I also don't want to panic anybody that's watching this. The new exam is coming April 1, 2017. There are changes that are significant. If you have to take the new exam, if you're a college student, you don't graduate until after it changes, you'll be fine. You'll be ready. But if you are able to take the test now and get even 2 parts out of the way before it changes, you really should try. You're going to save time, you're going to save money, and you won't have to deal with the new enhanced task-based sim, which for a lot of people is really a sore spot.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for joining me today. I wish you all the best on your exam. We'll see you next time.